Hey everyone, me Kevin here. The stock market is surging today on the, quote, hope that Congress will agree to a new stimulus deal, which now seems much more likely than it did last week when the stock market was crashing. This is all due to Nancy Pelosi's discussion on CNN yesterday that Democrats plan to release their new stimulus, and I'm going to say the word, proposal very soon. And they are expected to reach a deal with Treasury Secretary Mnuchin on this. Now, what makes this proposal different is it isn't from just random individuals in Congress who had the bright idea to put together a proposal, send it into Congress and go, $2,000 a month, yay, or how about this, or how about that, or some sort of dead on arrival messaging bill. This is actually the stimulus plan that the House leadership is expected to make a deal with the White House on, and that might actually finally translate into real money in our pockets. This is expected to include more stimulus checks, more PPP funding, unemployment payments, money for renters, which is crucial to avoid an eviction and foreclosure crisis, money for schools, money for vaccines, and more. Now, just a heads up, there are false rumors floating around that forcing a vote on the next stimulus package in the House by Friday would be a good thing. That would actually be wrong. This would be a bad thing, and here's why. What we want is Nancy Pelosi and the White House to agree to a stimulus package verbally first, or at least have a written plan that they both agree on. Because as soon as that happens, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin turns around to Donald Trump and says, we got to deal with Pelosi. Trump hasn't wanted to talk to Pelosi or Democrats until a deal has been met. And if Treasury Secretary Mnuchin and Pelosi can strike a deal on a plan, then Trump can go to Republicans and say, let's do this. As well as Nancy Pelosi going to Democrats and going, let's do this. That's the expectation now. And that is the optimism that she gave on the interview with CNN Sunday morning. She said she wants to pass a stimulus bill once we have a plan that can actually get the votes it needs to pass all sides of Congress and get a signature from the president to, quote, get money in the hands of people. By voting on a bill without Treasury Mnuchin's blessing, and without Donald Trump's blessing, the odds of getting Republicans in the Senate on board to pass this bill are zero, and Democrats will just be wasting their time. Therefore, yes, a vote by Friday sounds good and hopeful, but it's not what we need now. What we need first is a deal with the White House, and then we can go to a vote. Now, to be real about this, here's the outline. We need a written plan of this $2.2 to $2.4 trillion proposal. Then we need an agreement with the White House. Then we need a bill, which that bill will still have to be written, and then we have to vote on the bill. And since we don't even yet have a proposal, and we certainly don't yet have a bill, in my opinion, the odds of us actually seeing a vote this week are very low. However, I do think we will see dramatic progress this week, and I would rather see a verbal deal signed off, like verbally signed off, by the end of the week. That would be excellent and would give us the best path to actually finally getting stimulus. Now, I'm going to talk about some other misinformation that's come up this morning as well, but first I want to mention right now, we're obviously all waiting on Nancy Pelosi and Mnuchin to just come out and say, we have a deal, or here's the proposal, and we're finishing the final details on this deal. However, so far today, on Monday, Nancy Pelosi has focused her attention on the possibility that neither Joe Biden nor Donald Trump will win the Electoral College outright. That neither of them will get the 270 votes needed to become president. This will shift the power to select the president, not to the people, but to the House of Representatives. But don't worry, that doesn't necessarily mean, or maybe you're not worried, maybe you think that's a good thing, that doesn't necessarily mean the House gets to decide. Here's what happens. If the House gets the power to select the president, it's not just going to land along party lines the way we might expect. And this hasn't happened since 1876. I mean, it's been over like 150 years, basically. The way this works is this. Each state will get a single vote, which will be determined by a tally of all of the individual people in the House within that state. Right now, Republicans control 26 delegations, Democrats control 22, and Pennsylvania is tied with Michigan super close. But Nancy is freaking out, and she's telling her delegations that the most important thing that Democrats can do right now is ensure control of the House because of the possibility that the Electoral College does not decide the election. Nancy Pelosi wants to see more effort put onto winning the elections in House representative districts tricks to ensure that Democrats have a greater control of the delegations that could potentially decide this election. Beyond this, Nancy Pelosi slammed Trump for, quote, years abusing the tax code while passing a GOP tax scam for the rich that gives 83% of the benefits to the wealthiest 1%. Furthermore, there are factually incorrect rumors on YouTube that the New York Times leaked information on Trump's tax returns and that somehow that leaked information is solely based on 3 pages of leaked tax return documents, and therefore the entire report from the New York Times should be cast into question. Now, y'all know me, I don't take sides left or right, but when it comes to facts, at least I like to talk about the facts. Over the last day, I've already spent over 4 hours planning to make a video on this New York Times piece, so stay tuned for that soon. But I do want to quickly clarify. The New York Times received 3 pages of Trump's 1995 tax return during the 2016 election. However, this new piece from the New York Times, agree with it or not, based on what the New York Times says, is a collection of thousands of individual and business tax returns from 2000 to 2017, along with tax information from other years, including employee compensation information and records of cash payments from Trump to his businesses, as well as other information about ongoing audits, other tax data, and then all of this new trove of data that the New York Times gained access to was compared to previously leaked information, including 3 pages from 1995. So that paints a very, very different picture here. Now, you'll see in my video later that I'm going to be making a very unbiased, unpartisan breakdown as a business person. That's going to be my POV. So if you want to know my take as a business person on what Trump did, why Trump may have done something, is it potentially legal or where does it cross the line, I'm going to give you all of my thoughts on that as a business owner. And not just as a business owner, but somebody who studied accounting at UCLA. I want to break this all down as simply as I can, but that video will come later. In the meantime, hold your horses. There are a lot of crazy and misleading headlines and statements out there, and my goal is to try to clean all of that up. Furthermore, the first debate between the presidents will be hosted tomorrow between 9 and 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, September 29th. Chris Wallace from Fox will be moderating the debate, and the topics will be Trump and Biden's records, the Supreme Court, COVID, the economy, the race and violence issues we're seeing in our country. When I say race issues, I don't mean the presidential race, I mean like minorities and other races, and election integrity. On COVID, cases are down today. However, keep in mind that testing data tends to be low on Mondays due to low collections on Sunday and weekends. I'm not exactly sure why, but that's just consistently always been something we've seen on Mondays. They're always much lower. Worldwide, we've had 303,000 cases just yesterday, and the trend slope for worldwide cases is literally straight up. In fact, there's never been a downtrend on a global scale. Europe is increasingly facing a second lockdown and is increasing fears that we might see a second wave in the United States. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, you can get 2 free stocks with Webull if you deposit $100 with Webull, and they will give you 2 free stocks worth up to $1,600. Get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes and check out the programs down below. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.